welcome back to episode 8 of PK's Place. I know it's been a while since I last talked to everyone. It's been about 6, 7, 8 weeks, I've lost count at this point. Obviously, it's been a while since I talked to you guys. That's on me. I was in LA for a month, and things didn't really exactly work out the way I thought they would, content-wise. I still, if I'm being real with everyone, I still proved, and what happened was I mainly realized that I still have a long way to go, or there's still things for me to learn in the podcast game, but everyone makes mistakes and everyone learns eventually. Even I'll say, I tried to record an interview in person with 2 people, I won't say, and I thought I hooked everything up, and we ended up talking for a while. It was a good conversation, but when it came time to check on it and figure things out, it turns out I actually didn't record any. Reminds me of a story Whitney and Rear Admiral said on Chicklets, where they started just talking. They thought they were recording an episode, and then midway through, Whitney's like, "All right, do we record this?" And they didn't record anything. So even some of the best in the biz, make mistakes and are not able to, they aren't able to get it done sometimes, and that's okay. It's something that a few years down the line I'll be able to look at and I'll be able to laugh about it. So it's not the end of the world for me. So I'm not worried at all about it. Today's episode is going to feature an interview with a good friend of mine, someone I've known for a number of years now. It's Bobby Lynch, who plays for the Winnipeg Jets system, played last year with the Manitoba Moose. Good interview, about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Talked about a variety of subjects. I think you guys are going to like this one. If you haven't already, make sure you go on Apple Podcasts, wherever you find it, wherever you're able to review, leave a 5-star review, leave comments. I love reading the comments, and I love hearing feedback from everyone, especially so I can try to make the podcast even better and just improve, since obviously it's my goal to keep getting better and obviously to make it a big podcast. So I welcome any constructive criticism. So without further ado, we're going to send it over to Bobby Lynch. All right, I'd now like to welcome on a good friend of mine. He's currently in the Winnipeg Jets system. It is Bobby Lynch. What's going on, Bobby?
Not much.
So how would you say your off season's gone after the late end to the season in the AHL?
It's been good so far. I'm up in Quebec with my girlfriend, but been training a lot, put a couple pounds on, and skated with a couple good groups. So it's good so far.
Good to hear. How have the COVID restrictions been since you've been in Quebec?
At first they were still pretty serious. They classify things in color zones. So when I first got here, where I'm staying was in zone red. So pretty much I couldn't go out to eat, it's still mask everywhere, but we're into a green zone now, so we can eat at restaurants with other people, and things are starting to open up, so it's good.
Well, yeah, definitely. That's good to hear. Obviously, you get to now kind of live life a little bit more. And how did those protocols compare to when you were in Quebec? Winnipeg?
When I first got here, it was the same, because when I was in Winnipeg, we were super strict, can't eat at restaurants. We're order groceries if you can, only go into the stores if you absolutely need something. We were restricted to only see the team, and that was pretty much it. So it's been nice to go out to some restaurants, but
yeah, you're starting to get that kind of normalcy back up north.
Yeah.
And what do you think that effect that has on a player's mental health, especially where you said you can only go to, let's say, the grocery store if it's absolutely essential, where it's basically almost like you're just in your team bubble, even if you are traveling to different cities?
Yeah. I think everyone deals with things differently. I'm kind of I don't mind being alone or, at home. I can deal with myself. So, a couple trips to the grocery store was fine. I mean, you want to hang out with your teammates for sure, which we weren't really allowed to, but um, it wasn't horrible. But I wouldn't want to do it again. That's for sure.
Yeah, you and everyone else wouldn't want to do it
Yeah.
again. And so what was the testing like on a day-to-day basis? Because obviously, even if you were in Canada, the US, wherever you were in the American Hockey League and NHL, there was obviously
Hmm.
testing pretty frequently. So what was it like for you guys in Winnipeg?
Yep. For us, it was so we get a text every night about the schedule for the following day, and we usually had our time slots starting, I think, 8 to 10:30 were the time slots for staff and players. I was usually about, I think it was a 9:30 slot, and every single morning, 9:30, the thing that goes way up into your brain
Mhm.
every single morning. And for what was it, 100 days or something like that. But yeah, you kind of got used to it, and depending on the tester, some of the women were pretty good, and then you'd get the odd one who would make it sting, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, obviously, that was the kind of new norm that you guys had to go through, especially with this
Yeah.
season. And obviously, the question's been asked a lot, but how much did you truly miss playing in front of fans, especially since obviously in junior, like when you were in Quebec, you got to play in front of a lot of fans, and even in
Yeah.
Muskegon too. So, how did you have to prepare differently on a game day when there was no fans?
I mean, I prepared the same way, but you definitely notice the atmosphere is pretty much gone. We actually played in our practice rink this year, so it wasn't as empty of a feeling. But when you played in some of the bigger rinks, they'd play fan noises over the speakers, but it'll be fun to play in front of fans again for sure.
Absolutely, and especially since you guys will actually get to play in the Bell MTS place, which
Yeah.
and obviously it's a no shit statement, but you're not going to get that draw that the NHL team gets. But even some fans there, it's going to be a big boost over having none.
Yeah, I'm not sure what if they're going to be allowing like full fans back yet. I haven't heard, and if they've announced it, I haven't seen it. But we still get pretty good amount of fans. I don't know what the rink holds, maybe 18,000, but I think it's they get like around 10,000, which is a lot of fans. So it'll be
Yeah,
exciting for sure.
yeah, for an AHL team, that's a pretty good draw. And so obviously this is your first full year with Manitoba. Obviously you were there a
Yep.
little bit last year. How do you think your first full AHL season went?
I had my ups and downs. I started out the season pretty hot. Um, Points in my first like 5 or 6 games, was doing well. And then just lineup changes, and then stopped producing pretty much. And I was in and out of the lineup, but I had 2 injuries, so I think that was definitely part of it. And you know, my main thing is just going into camp this year, like being a top 1 or 2 line player. So
Yeah, for sure. So what changes do you think you had to make, or at least what like mentally did you have to kind of shift, especially when you move from the coast to the AHL, which obviously anytime you go up a level, play gets faster and there's certain things you have to adjust to.
mhm. um, yeah, I think like the play's faster, but it's a good thing sometimes. You definitely had more time and space in the coast because there's a wider variety of players. You have players that are really good that like should be in the AHL and or better. And then there's other players who get pulled up from lower leagues, but I mean, good for them. So I think the big thing is just winning your battles in the corners, on the boards, at the blue line. Just, everyone always says the little details, but yeah, the coaches really care about the little details. So that's definitely something I focused on more last year, and I improved throughout the year with it.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was one of your coaches this year, was that Dubois' father? And if so,
Yes,
what was it?
yep.
What was it like having him as a coach?
I like him a lot. He's our D coach. He coaches are serious, but he's a guy that'll joke around too, and I think that's a good thing to have in any atmosphere, is someone that blends well with the boys and everything. And I think he was really excited to have his kid with the Jets as well. So
Yeah, I think anytime like a father, at least in an organization, can get their kid kind of that close, and obviously it's not where he's coaching his kid, because obviously I can already just imagine people being like, oh, like people just make comments about how like his dad's a coach, but I mean for him at least, like it's good, at least you can keep a close eye on him and kind of be in the same facility as him. And did you play
yeah,
against this kid in the Q or no?
once or twice, but that was my first year, so that was third, fourth line player. So I didn't play against him much, but I do know I did play against them. Yeah.
So obviously you spent time in Drummondville, like for the first part of your junior career. How did you end up in Drummondville, and how would you describe your time there?
Um, I, I was playing U18 for Honey Baked in Detroit, and um, I wasn't talking to any schools. I wasn't talking to any junior teams, and Igor at the time, my agent, was junior was going up to the Remparts, and he asked me if I'd want to play major junior, and I said, if I'm not talking to any schools and someone of this, I can't think of the word, but yeah, this caliber is saying, hey, maybe you should try the major junior out. I'm like, Hall of Fame, guys telling me, I'm sure, why not? So I made the choice that I was going to go play for the Remparts. I was going to sign with Igor Jr. And then 10 days before signing, broke my leg. And then as I was recovering, the Remparts didn't really want much to do with me for obvious reasons. Coming off a broken femur is pretty serious. So when I was about ready to come back, Igor had another player in Drummondville, and they were looking for a few guys. So sent me up there, and I played my first season. I think I played 50 games, had like 9 points, knowing that I could produce way better. Went back the next year, knowing that in the back of my mind, like I was still trying to make the team, and I had a really good camp, and then finished a point per game, I think, and had a really good second year. So that's kind of how I got up to Drummondville.
So what do you think was so obviously you said you had the mindset that you could be a top 6 producer on that team. Did you do anything different over the summer, or what was one of the key factors aside from that mindset that led you to break out the second year?
I think it was honestly just, when you break, certain bones heal really fast. When you break your femur, it's the biggest bone in your body. And it took me like a full year to actually recover. So my bone was healed 3 months after, which was still like, the doctors were surprised how fast it healed. But I was still recovering, I was still pretty weak when I was coming back and started playing again. So just the off season of lifting and training and getting stronger again was pretty much all that was needed.
Yeah, for sure. And I even was looking at the guys that you played with in Drummondville when you were point per game, and some
Mhm.
names popped out. So you played with, I think it was Nick Bodin, who played for the
Yep.
Blackhawks this year. So what was it like
Mhm.
playing with guys like that, like him, Valeno, guys that had like that kind of draft talk around them, or at least like the hype that these guys are supposed to be like first round picks?
Oh, it was nice. I mean, it was nice for many reasons. Number one, it was nice to always have NHL scouts in the rinks, just because just because they're coming to look at one guy doesn't mean they can't say, "Oh, who just made that player? Who's that guy? Who's the guy with the speed?" So I always knew, you always had mom and dad always say, you never know who's watching, and so that was kind of going into every game thinking about that. But when you're surrounded with top players, it's really fun to play as well.
Absolutely. And another player you actually played with in Drummondville I wanted to get into was our boy, friend of the program, Greg Kreutzer. So what was it like having what was it like playing with Greg in junior hockey, especially since you'd gotten to play with him, obviously, with me, obviously, also over the spring?
No, I like playing with Greg a lot. He's one of those players that, and I think people will really see it this year, and I hope I can watch some of his games over in Germany. But and I think he'll tell you he's not the flashiest player, but I think a big thing for D is if they can make that first pass, they're gonna do really well. And Greg's a guy that'll make the easy breakout pass. He won't put himself in bad situations. He's really good at running the point on the power play. He's a good passer for a defenseman, and he's a fun guy to play with for sure.
Yeah, were you
And it was nice having an English guy up there with me. So
Why did you guys not have many English speakers in
no, we
Drummondville?
actually we actually did that the second year with Greg. I want to say we had like 12 or 13 guys whose first language was not French. So we had two Europeans, and we count those as like the English speakers. And I think we had like 12 or 13 guys. So we had a fun group of English guys, but all the French guys would speak English too. So it was fun.
That definitely helps. Do you have any Greg stories that you any funny stories of Greg you'd feel free to share with us?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Greg staying out of trouble while he was in Drummondville?
Yeah, he's not very crazy to my knowledge.
No, he's not. So I'm going to segue this to this next topic. So you were actually recommended to come on here by Mikhail Hakkarainen, who actually, but we're recording this on a Wednesday. He got traded Tuesday, so the day before this, he got traded to Vegas for a pretty decent goalie. Some of you may have heard of him, Marc-Andre Fleury. What was your reaction when seeing a Hack just get traded to Vegas and see Fleury going the other way?
Also, my mom sent me a text actually of like a screenshot from Sportsnet, and I was like, is it a real post? Because I was like, it's not right. And then I log on to Twitter, Instagram, and find out that it's a real trade. And at first I was like, oh wow, I feel like maybe there's more that they haven't announced yet. And then I instantly text our equipment manager from Muskegon, Patrick Dooley, and I said, "Hey, you see the trade?" And he said, "Yeah, I already called Hack and asked him about it." And I said, "Man, I'd be screenshotting that and putting it up on up on my wall, framing it, Hakkarainen for Fleury." But it's a hopefully a new opportunity for Hack, which will be good for him. And if Fleury decides he's not going to retire and play one more year, it's a big. Chicago's made some big moves today and the past 2-3 days, so they can be a dangerous team next year.
Yeah, I definitely think that they can. The Blackhawks can surprise some people. Like, I mean, obviously, if getting Fleury, I mean, even if Fleury plays 1 year, like let's say Fleury he plays this year, he's a free agent, so he can always go back to Vegas if they wanted him. Although I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
surprised that they did get rid of him. The
Yeah.
Blackhawks, like even today, like they signed Jake McCabe from Buffalo, who's a local kid. Jujhar Khaira is a good depth signing. You got the Jones brothers, obviously. So I think that they'll be a surprise team, and then obviously I think people are gonna realize they get Taves back, which obviously was kind of scary
Yeah.
that he
And
didn't
they
get to
just
play.
got Johnson too, didn't they? Yesterday. Tyler
Uh,
Johnson.
yeah, they did. They got Tyler
Yeah,
Johnson
so
for like a draft pick. So yeah, they're making moves. I mean, obviously another year of Doc, another year of DeBrincat, Kane. So I think they'll do well. But yeah, like I'll tell everyone, I found out like I was in my group chat with past guest Igor the second, Matei Picard, and Igor's like he got traded. Hack got traded. He's like, let's go Hack. So I'm like, what happened? He said he got traded for Fleury because originally when I saw it, it said for nothing. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you? They basically just given
right.
Fleury up for nothing. But then it said it was Hack, and I was like, wow. And I do agree with you. If that happened to me, like, yeah, why not frame it? Like, just the fact that you're seeing Marc-Andre Fleury for Hakkarainen, like, that's unbelievable. That's a great. That's a 10 out of 10 photo right there.
Yeah.
And speaking of Dooley, any stories of Dooley when you're in Muskegon? I've heard from a few people that used to play that he's a local legend.
Oh, he's a great guy, and I hope I hope soon. Well, I mean, I like my guys in Manitoba. Wherever he gets the opportunity, he deserves, whether it's AHL or NHL. He's a really good equipment manager, and he's a guy you can joke around with, and you can pick on him a little bit, but he's going to do it right back to you. So he's a really good guy, good relationships, and I mean, no stories that stick out. But I was texting him a couple days ago before the hack story, and up in Quebec, there's a couple pool bars, like to shoot pool, called Doolies. So I was going to stop in and see if they had any T-shirts, but the one I went to was closed. So I don't know if that's going to happen unless we pass one. But he's a great guy.
Yeah, it's good to hear. What as players, what do you guys do to make sure you take care of the equipment guys? Because you hear from past like NHL guys and other past hockey players that the equipment guys are some of the hardest working staff members, and it's so vital to take care of them, at least make them feel appreciated. Because for those that don't know, like about the equipment manager role in hockey, like when the team like lands somewhere, gets in somewhere, like you guys go right to the hotel, but the equipment guys go right to the rink, and they're usually up to like 2 or 3 a.m. and then they're up at 7 a.m. for like morning skate. So it's long hours and it's grueling. So how do you guys take care of them as a group?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they they do work super hard. So what people don't know about them is they're also the cleaners. So they're mopping every single day. They're wiping down everyone's stalls, cleaning all the equipment. Um, when we're going on the road or whatever, we pack our bags up and we carry them where they need them to, so they're not doing that extra 15 minutes of carrying all the bags everywhere. But um, I mean, we do. You never really turn down when they ask you to do something. It's always a, oh, for sure. Whenever they need help, you help them, and it's not like they ask for much help. So it's pretty. But I I don't know if it's all levels of junior, but I would do it, and then in pro too, everyone does it. Is at the end of the year, you pay the staff, not the coaching staff, but your therapists, the equipment managers, everyone that's there on a daily basis. You usually give them a little bit of money, and I know players in like the NA, the NA3, USHL, they don't get paid, but it goes a long way when, even if it's $20 to give to someone at the end of the year that you appreciate what they've done for you. And sometimes in juniors, that might get you an extra stick or something too. So I'm always pretty good relationships with our equipment managers. So
Yeah, I think that's the right way to go about it. Obviously, to treat them with respect and treat them very nice, especially since they're putting in a lot of effort. Also, so I texted Igor about you coming on, junior that is, and I asked him for any stories or anything about you. He wanted me to ask you about your Muskegon tape jobs.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I mean, it was just a really fun year. You know, we had everyone just, you know, everyone got along for the most part and everything. And I just decided with Dooley and Woody, our therapist, we just said, hey, what should I do for my tape job today? And I would, I was actually telling teammates last year some of the tape jobs I would do, but I would do like some of the stupidest stuff. I would do like a skill strip. They called it a skill strip. So like 6 inches above the blade, you know, you just do a roll or a strip right around the end of the stick, and they called it a skill strip. And then so I would do, one day I did like 3 skill strips, and I was going to take one off for each point I had that game, which was pretty cocky. And then, you know, I had 1 skill strip, and then I had one tape job where from the skill strip, I had tape going down both sides to the start of my tape job, and I put a line in it like a racing stripe. We had just crazy looking ones. And then I think the craziest one I did though was I think we were in Dubuque, and I had white tape on my blade. I had 2 crazy tape jobs. So I did, I'll do the one I was just talking about second. So we had, you know, grip tape that you put on up on your top hand.
Yep.
And I decided, I mean, is it legal to use grip tape on your blade? So I used grip tape on my blade, and then I had either a strip of white or black on the heel and the toe just to hold it down. And I was using grip tape for a couple games. And I mean, it felt fine to me. I didn't really notice anything. But then the other one in Dubuque, I did, I had black tape on my blade. And then I took fat white tape and I started cutting triangles, and I had like teeth coming above and below the blade. Like they were like biting down on my blade.
Like a shark.
And that one was pretty unique. So, and then it was like every day, you know, probably 15 minutes before guys started warming up, you know, we'd get together, and me, Woody, Dooley, and then we'd pretty much decide, you know, what the tape job was going to be for that game. So it was pretty fun.
Which tape job was your favorite out of those?
I mean, the shark one was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I had one where I had like, you can't even describe, it was like the Jamie bend. So just like the middle
it's in the
of the
middle.
blade.
Yeah.
And then, so like, say this is like the tape, and then I had a tape going from the bottom to the top and then wrapped around, and then to the blade, to the toe wrapped around. So it was just like unnecessary stuff. And we were playing, and there was 2 twins that played for Dubuque that year. I can't
Jackson
remember
twins.
their last. The Jacksons.
Yeah,
they're
from
good
Ontario.
hockey. Yeah, they're good hockey players. And one of them was like, "Oh, that's a sick tape job, dude." I was like, "Oh, thanks." I just, because, you know, usually like you would think like you'd get chirped for it, but I was one of the better players that year, and no one really ever chirped me for it. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, no one's gonna chirp you, especially if you're filling that the way you did that year.
Yeah.
But even
and
like
as a 20-year-old too. So I was in a way, like it's.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It reminded me of a story. Paul Bissonnette was talking about. Some of his teammates pranked him one like morning skate where they put like clear tape on his stick, and he was like talking about. He was like, "Oh, guys, I was just snapping it tape to tape." Like he had a really good practice. He didn't even realize he had clear tape on his stick.
That's funny.
Yeah. So how many points did you have with the grip tape on the bottom?
I couldn't tell you. I probably used it for 2 to 5 games, and I was close to a point per game that year. So I would imagine I had a few.
I never would have thought of putting grip tape on the bottom of the stick. That's
Most people wouldn't.
creativity. I don't know. That's creativity, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So what were some of your other good memories of Muskegon? What was it like also playing with Igor Jr. again? Played with him in spring, and then obviously getting to play with him that fall when you guys both age out.
Yeah. We were. It was really fun. We played together when we were 12 years old at Honey Bake. We had chemistry back then. I knew we'd have it again. We had some good times. Really good buddies, and when you're playing with someone you can pass to and you're going to get the puck back, it's always super fun. We didn't always play together, but when we did, we had some pretty nice goals. We had one where I'm a pretty fast player, and it might have been Dubuque again. We were coming down on a 2-on-2, and I had speed going down the left side, and he kind of slowed down at the red line, and he just decided to flip it up over the D, and he flipped it over the D, and I went around both of them and just backhand, forehand, tucked it in. That was a pretty sweet goal. And then we had another one where puck goes out of the zone. I outmuscle a D for the puck, and I have a mini breakaway, and I backhand, forehand, pass it backwards between my legs, and he just came in and just slammed it home. But he's a really fun player to play with.
Funny locker room guy too, I imagine. Like he just always cracking jokes.
Yeah.
And another thing Hack told me was he said you, Igor, and him would always you guys would always go on the road. When you're on the road together, you would always eat together.
Yeah, we'd always
spend time together.
Yeah. We had 5 20s that year, because the USHL can have 4, and then goalies don't count. So us 3 would, all 5 of the 20s got along really well. So it wasn't like we were excluding the other 2, but yeah, us 3, we'd always, go out, get like a nice dinner the day before a game, like a steak or, a nice pasta place. But, back before curfew, but it was just nice, like, to go out with the same guys every now and then and get good meals. So crack jokes the whole time. So
yeah, for sure. So I guess something also funny I'd bring up was this isn't the first time I interviewed you. I also interviewed you at Igor's party on the red carpet, where I will mention you did actually predict the correct winner of worst dressed that night. Sorry, Greg. But but yeah, what do you remember about that night? Pretty much everyone I've gotten on who was there, we've all talked about it.
Oh yeah, it was a blast. It was really fun. It was more than I was expecting. They said it was going to be like a red carpet gala theme, right?
Oscar, yeah, Met Gala Oscar.
Oscar, yeah, and it was definitely that. So I'll give it to him for the setup. I don't know. It was you, Igor, and Diana that set it all up, I think, right?
Yeah, we had
a really good job.
His mom too, Elena. Yeah, we all had Gretz too. Even like we all had to like set a lot of stuff up. But no, it was worth it. It was a great time.
Oh yeah, it was a great time. It was funny when started singing. Matei, amazing rapper, and he was pretty funny. And then Igor and Diana singing, they were pretty good too. So, and then we got yelled at by the neighbors, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, we'll disregard the neighbors on that one. And what's even funnier was Hack told me that he used to give Matei rides to the rink when they played together. I think this was a year before you got there.
The year before, yeah.
Yeah, so it was the year before, and yeah, he just told me like this. He would just like rap and like just rap to a bunch of
the
stuff.
whole time.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny, but yeah, that night obviously was a lot of fun, and then How'd you like having his dad as an agent, and how do you think his dad helped you in your hockey career?
I mean, I think without Igor, I don't know where I'd be, honestly, because, he got me into juniors, and, obviously you have to perform to, if you want to move higher. And I performed well, but, he's helped me. He's helped me. If I never got into juniors, I never would have got the looks. Or I should say, if I never played in the Q, I never would have gotten looks from the NHL teams, and never, would have gotten my chance in Muskegon. Who knows where I'd be? I'd hopefully be playing college if I didn't know Igor, but I'm grateful the path I took, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I think that's good to hear, especially not having.
And I still talk to, I still talk to Igor. Not as much as I used to, but every couple months, I'd say I talk to him, or he texts me, and we stay in contact. So I think that's big.
Yeah, that helps for sure. So also, I believe in Drummondville, you guys played outside, right? Like an outdoor game.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Before you start, I mentioned it to Nikita Sedov. He also played outdoors, and he actually said that was his first goal he scored in the WHL. So he said it was a pretty cool experience. Where did you guys play outdoors, and how was it?
I think we played, it was in Drummondville. I don't remember exactly where it was at, but it was a blast. I think we played did we play one or two games outdoor? I don't remember. Maybe just one game, but it was a blast. It was like a blizzard that night, so there was a ton of snow. They were shoveling every 2 minutes. Great pictures we got. I think we either won 3-2 or lost 3-2, but we played Victoriaville, the game I remember, and it was just a blast, and I remember it's like, I hope they have heaters on the bench, like, so our feet don't get cold and stuff. And they had heaters, and it was so hot on the benches, you just couldn't wait until you got out on the ice. So I had a ice bag in the middle of winter on my neck when I was on the bench to keep cool. And then so when we'd go into the locker rooms in between periods to keep warm again, they would have like hot chocolate. And then a big thing they do up here in Quebec is they serve like chicken broth, like, to drink. And I don't like hot chocolate, so I was drinking like chicken broth to keep warm in between periods. But yeah, that was a blast. I don't think I scored that game, but it was really fun.
Who would have thought that in like the middle of like a winter snowstorm, you're putting like something cold on your body?
Yeah, no kidding.
I
remember like when we practiced the day before, it was like sunny, super nice weather, except it was freezing cold. It was like middle of the day, probably like 10 degrees out, and you're skating. It's like, oh, I couldn't catch your breath. But we played at night. My mom came up with my grandma, I think, or my grandpa, and they flew up for the weekend, watched the games, and it was a really good time.
The one thing that's interesting about you said it was sunny for the practice. I've always noticed whenever it's sunny out in winter, I despise it, because that means it's me so much more cold. Yeah, it's terrible. Honestly, I prefer like just like the overcast, and like sun don't even come out till like spring, at that point.
Yeah, we had a couple, not more than a couple days this winter in Winnipeg when, it's sunny out, beautiful day, and then you step outside and it's -40 Celsius. And like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's like -30 or something crazy. You step outside, terrible, and you're like, like, it was a good thing we were wearing masks like inside, because you just kept them on until you got to the car. And you had to start the car for 20 minutes minimum before taking off, or else you were gonna jack it up.
Yeah, that's always for those of you that are listening and obviously watching on YouTube that live in like the snow, like the states and places that snow, you know what it's like having to start your car, and it's no greater inconvenience to your morning than like, especially 20 minutes. Cause like I'm used to it, like in the Northeast, like you'll start it for 5-10 minutes, but 20,
Yeah.
it's like you can watch you can go watch Netflix, like an episode of a Netflix show
Yeah.
almost, and then come back. Like that's absurd, man. Like,
Yeah. When most of the guys were in the hotel, like for camp still, guys were like waking up, going outside, starting their cars, and then coming back inside, like eating a small breakfast, showering, whatever you do in the morning, going to the bathroom, like half hour later, go back out, and your car's like just getting to like, above
mhm.
freezing, still so cold. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
terrible. And speaking of Winnipeg, you actually played this year with electrifying forward Cole Perfetti. What was it like playing with a high talent like him?
He's a fun player to play with, it's a smaller guy, but he makes the right plays all the time. Um, you got small flashes of really good hands, but I think the big thing is he sees the game really well, and that's why he's produced in the OHL and now this year in the AHL, and it'll be fun. I'm assuming he'll be well. Hopefully, he can get a game with the Jets or more this year, but hopefully, I can play with him again and we can produce some points together.
Yeah, he's a very talented player. He was part of that World Junior team this year that I think they were like all first rounders, or almost all of them. I think
Yeah, they were.
Levi,
I think 22 of them were first round picks or something like that. Something
yeah,
crazy.
Levi was the only one who wasn't. So I want to know, because you obviously played with Cole this year. Was there a conflict of interest for who you were cheering for? Like, obviously you want Cole to do well, but then you want friend of the program, Mike Tyson with US to obviously win, which he obviously came out on top, and all the boys are happy for Bike. But who were you trying to root for there between those two guys?
Um, I don't know. I think at that stage, that point, I kind of cheer for my friends.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't a matter of, oh, I want them to win. It was, I want them to score. I want them to get an assist.
Hmm.
So I'd say, you know, I think I knew a couple guys on each team, and it was just I wanted those guys to do well, and that was the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bike had an assist on the second goal. I think the Zegers goal. Yeah, he had an assist on
Hmm.
that second goal. But obviously, like, it was cool seeing him against Finland score the winning goal with like 20 seconds left. That was
Yeah,
that was great to see. Like, it's like, for anyone who's seen it, you've seen the goal. He's literally just alone in the slot, and I would say him or Caulfield on that U.S. team, the two worst guys to leave, just all alone in the slot.
oh yeah.
Yeah, those guys will bear it on you.
I mean, if you've ever seen Bike's Arthur Kaliev's highlights, well, if you haven't, just look him up, and he's going to put every single shot under the bar. So you shouldn't leave him open.
No, I mean, he's used to it, especially like time skating with him, like a 3-net drill or just any scoring drill. It's like, just get the puck in his hands and he'll put it in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was just wild guy, and obviously, I'm not surprised that he scored his first goal in his first game either with the Kings.
yeah. I was pretty happy for him. So, oh, I mean, I don't know what LA's team's looking like this year. What they have for plans for him, but I'm sure he'll get more than a game this year. So
I mean, I would hope so. Like, for those that don't know, he actually also led the American League team in scoring. He led Ontario in scoring. So, I mean, I think that should be a pretty good indication. But I mean, the chips will fall where they may, I think.
yeah,
Another place that you played at, for me, is actually kind of interesting. You played here was Jacksonville, Florida. What was it like playing, not just in, obviously, like in the coast, but especially in a kind of ideal spot where the weather's nice. It's just a different lifestyle as opposed to if you were in like Wheeling or like
yeah,
any of these
yeah.
other places.
I mean, it was definitely weird. I'm from Michigan. I'm used to, you get out of the rink and you zip your jacket up, have your boots on. It's cold weather. in Jacksonville, you'd come out of the rink with shorts and flip flops on because it's 80 degrees out. So it was nice having the sun, nice weather and everything. We were like 25 minutes from the beach, so which isn't bad, but I didn't have a car down there, so I only went to the beach like 2 times, I think. So it was nice though. They have really good fans down there, really good fan base. I think we had one game with like 15,000 fans, which is crazy for any league. That's more than some NHL teams.
Mm-hmm.
And we averaged like I don't know 8,000 was pretty normal, I feel like. So it was a really good fan base. Ice wasn't the best down in Florida, no matter where you played, but I mean, you can expect that with the weather. So
Yeah. Were you so being in Jacksonville, were you able or lucky enough to catch, even though I know COVID, but were you able to catch any Jaguars games while you were down there, or not really?
no, I wasn't actually. I don't know what the schedules look like, but I feel like we were probably only home for a fraction of their games anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I never got the chance. I would have never got the chance to. Actually, when we were in Orlando, they had the Pro Bowl going on,
Oh,
I
really?
think.
Yeah,
And
they usually have it there.
there's a couple of us that, not a couple, probably like 8 of us that went to the Pro Bowl, and that was pretty cool. So
What was the
but that was about it.
what was your favorite part of the Pro Bowl? Like, did you have a favorite event that happened? Part of the
Um
skills?
no, actually we didn't see the skills. We just saw the game.
Oh, the game. What
I
was the best part of the
Yeah.
game?
Um I don't even remember. It was a packed stadium though, like completely full. So it was pretty cool though. I think it was a close game too. Came down to maybe a field goal or something, but I don't go to many professional sporting events, and it was cool for sure.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl. So for me, like what's interesting with the Pro Bowl is so like you have like skills comps in other sports, like you have the NHL skills competition. That's obviously like mid-season. NBA, same thing, mid-season. Baseball, like baseball happened recently where that was mid-season. But football, what's for me, what's interesting about the Pro Bowl, there's Pro Bowl caliber players on the two Super Bowl teams, but they obviously can't play because the Super Bowl is the next weekend.
Right.
So I always think that part's interesting, but no, the Pro Bowl is cool. I think. I mean, especially like you have like they've had some wacky skills. Like they've played like dodgeball. They've done like
Yeah,
a
they do
number
it
of
for the
like
fans, but that's pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah, they do a
I
number of
actually
like
played in a
wacky ones.
dodgeball tournament this summer.
Oh no way! We gotta go
Yeah,
into this. What was that like?
it was a blast. Actually, I loved it. Um, it was just probably 8 teams. It was best of 3, like to win the series, and I think our team only lost 1 or 2 games. We played 6 series, and so 12. So we played 14 games because we only lost 2 to the whole time, but it was an absolute blast. We were, they started out with like probably, I don't know how big the balls were. They had the big
Mhm.
dodgeballs, and then they had a little bit smaller ones. And I was just always going for the smaller ones because I used to play baseball. I was just whipping these small balls at people. And then after our first series, they stopped putting the small balls in. We're only using the big ones. So I don't know if it was because of me, but I like to think that it was.
So,
But we ended up winning it, so it was a blast. We got a trophy and some sweatshirts, so it was pretty cool.
what was the celebration like after winning the dodgeball tournament?
Um, they they handed out like beers to. I'm not a big drinker, so I didn't drink, but they handed beers out to everyone, and they were all like cracking them on their head and like shotgunning them in the pictures and stuff. So they had it was fun though. It was a
That's
good time.
awesome. Now I gotta ask, like, since you brought up dodgeball, would you say your dodgeball like player style is more Peter LaFleur or John or White Goodman?
Probably Goodman.
Good.
I'm pretty aggressive, but I'm aggressive because I know I can dodge the balls and I can throw them pretty hard. So
That's good.
definitely the more aggressive player.
Do you know the 5 Ds of dodgeball?
I can try. So you got dip, dodge, duck, dive, and I always think it's dodge again, but I don't know.
Okay, so here's at least here's what I've remembered. It's dodge, dive, duck, dip, and you were right. Dodge again.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone, I feel like everyone who should be listening or watching would know what we're talking about. If you don't, it's the movie Dodgeball, a true underdog story with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller. Hilarious movie, endlessly quotable.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. I had to throw that question in there since you obviously played in dodgeball. And how did you get involved in it? How did you get approached to do it?
So I'm up in Quebec right now with my girlfriend, and I'm actually playing in a deck hockey league. So it's pretty much organized street hockey, and you play on like the sports court material. And her brother is the captain of our deck hockey team, and he and his, I think they're best friends. They were going to be in the dodgeball tournament last summer, but it got delayed because of COVID. And then when I was here, they're like, "Oh, you want to play in it?" So it's pretty much our hockey team got into the dodgeball tournament, and then it was really fun. We played a baseball team in the finals, and they were throwing the ball pretty hard, but we came out on top. So it was a blast.
Yeah, that's all that matters. It's funny you bring up deck hockey. So funny story is me and Igor the second. I was in LA for the past month, and we both were playing ball hockey while we were out there. So someone invited him out there, and I just kept going with him. So it was basically like a roller rink, but it was just like roller hockey, but without the blades. You were just on foot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, some of the people out there, like the shots, like these people just don't care. They just whip it, like just take clappers from like the red line, like from center ice. It's wild. But no, the funniest thing was one of the guys in it actually like has like he runs like a ball hockey league or whatever, and he's actually going to I think it's the Barstool tournament in Detroit.
Oh,
for
in
ball
Detroit.
hockey. Yeah, his team got in. So he knows Emerson Edom, who's a former Ducks player. So Emerson was actually at the last game, last pickup game that I went to I think it was like last Saturday, so almost 2 Saturdays ago. And no, he's a really good guy. Emerson Edom, very good guy. But what's funny is he comes in like play for the second period, and we played like a full game, so like 3 20s. And after the second, he's just like telling Igor and I, he's like, I'm out of breath. He's like, I gotta sit this one out.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I don't know, like what, like, did you guys have like shin pads on or anything, or just shoes, gloves?
So here's the thing. So us guys who play hockey, so like me, Igor, who else? I'm trying to think. There were some other guys out there, like our boy Brennan Brisson came out a few times. Hilarious guy, Vegas prospect. We just had all our guys that we knew that played hockey wouldn't wear shin guards. We didn't wear any of that, but there were some people out there. Let me just say that not only had shin guards and everything, but they had like their helmets on.
Oh yeah. So like up here in the deck hockey, you have to wear a helmet. And so but they have leagues up here, and in certain leagues, if you win them, you can go to nationals, and it's pretty big in Canada. But so you have tennis shoes on, and then you have almost like a baseball catcher. They're shin and knee guards. It's almost like that. Actually, I have it right next to me. I'm gonna grab it and show you.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Let me see. I shout out my team too. Okay, so this is like the knee guard. It's pretty slim, but
For those
slashed.
For those who are listening podcast form that can't see what Bobby just showed, it was basically just a like long, slender, like shin guard almost that
Yeah,
like kind of thinner than like what like normal hockey shin guards would be, but yeah,
definitely.
I mean there were
It's
some
definitely
guys.
more of like a baseball catcher shin guard type thing. Not as firm or as padding as a baseball catcher, but it's pretty close and definitely protects you. And they use the orange ball, and
Yeah, that's what we
they
used
just
to.
rip them. Like guys block shots, get down, block them. I'm wearing a cup because I don't trust anybody out here. And then
Yeah, I was.
they wear gloves. The gloves we have are you can wear hockey gloves, but these ones they're almost like lacrosse gloves. They're
Mhm.
you can bend them any way you want.
Yeah,
But no, it's a blast to play. So
it really is. So another, obviously, so people that still can't see, like lacrosse gloves are a little more like tapered to your hand, where hockey gloves are a little wider. So it's more almost just like kind of wearing like something like a glove you'd wear in the winter, but a little bigger
padded
with
winter
more
glove
padding.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I'm gonna tell you a story off camera involving the little ball and the need for wearing a cup. We'll talk about that one. That one
I think I know where
off.
this is going, but
Yeah. You probably know about it. You
yeah.
probably know about it. But yeah. So I was gonna ask. So like, so I'm a single guy. So for any other single guys, what relationship advice do you have? Because I know you've obviously been in a relationship for a number of years.
hmm Yeah. We're 3.5 years, almost 4 years.
Congrats.
I'm not probably the wrong guy to ask for relationship or advice. Um, I don't know, impress her early and then just hope she likes you. But
No, like so from strategies, like I'm thinking like for our single viewers out there, like
uh
what are some like what would you say is like an ideal like first date spot you would say? Or like where'd you take your girlfriend out for your first date?
our first date we went to just a restaurant in Drummondville. Um, Probably not the best choice, but we got like spaghetti, and so not the cleanest meal, but it was an awkward first date for us, for me at least. Well, for her too. She was speaking English and her first language is French. So, um, but she wanted to go on a second date. I wanted to go on a second date. I think we got ice cream for a couple times after that, and we had been talking for a while. So, um, we talked for like 10 months before I actually asked her out on a date. So pretty shy guy here, but we're doing well with each other. So
No, that's good to hear. What ice cream flavor did she order?
I have no clue. She likes like bubble gum, like
Hmm.
the kids flavors. And I'm more of if I'm getting hard ice cream, I'm getting Moose Tracks every time if there's Moose Tracks available. I don't know if you know what that is,
Yep. Yeah, I've heard
but
of Moose Tracks.
okay,
Yeah,
it's
classic.
it's like a fudge with like a peanut butter cup almost.
Hmm.
And then you can't go wrong with cookies and cream. But I like Reese's shakes or blizzards too. So
Yeah,
I was probably with the Reese Blizzard because they don't have Moose Tracks in Canada. But um,
for sure.
yeah,
Would there have been an ice cream flavor that, let's say like yours, what ice cream flavor would she have ordered that you would have been like, oh boy, or you would have just kind of been like, really, you ordered this one?
probably the ones that she still gets, bubble gum and like the Supermans and
Oh, Superman. Oh boy.
the one. I don't know if she likes Superman, but I think she would. The ones you see little kids making a mess with.
No,
But
it's
I don't know. I've never
yeah.
tried them, so maybe they are good.
No,
But
I've had them before. Yeah, they're not bad, but yeah, that's still funny. You you bring it up.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So another thing that's funny is so you're big into fishing.
yeah.
So little game I wanted to play with you is just kind of basically I'm asking would you catch this or would you not catch it? Like let's say you're fishing, you catch a certain fish. Are you keeping it or is it like no, catch and release? Like get this out of here.
Okay.
So I got a few choices for you. So first, you catch a bass. What are you doing with it?
Bass, at the end of the day, they're always getting thrown back in. Sometimes we'll keep them to take pictures at the end of the day, but I've never eaten a bass. I've heard they're really good, but it's a sport fish for me, and that's what I like fishing for. But I always throw them back. Catch them
So,
when they're bigger.
so you mentioned the photos. I guess this kind of elephant in the room has to be addressed. What's your stance on people? I guess mainly us men are we're the ones who do this of fish photos and dating profiles. Are you for or against that?
I'm for it. I love fishing, so I mean, I've heard it gets some slander, but
A lot of slander.
yeah, it's whatever. Hey, just there's some girls that like fishing, so maybe that'll get you one of them.
No, that's fair. I
I like
mean,
fishing, so I'm never gonna say don't put it in. They're all over my Instagram.
no, I mean that's not a no. That's I mean I think that's fair. I just had to ask because I think that it does get a lot of slander, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity.
Mhm.
So next, Pike. What are you doing with this one?
Like, it depends. If I'm up north at our cabin, um, I've made some pretty good pike fries in the past. I know how to fillet them pretty well. Um, I had one last year, my buddy and I, George. We brought back 5 of them. In Michigan, they have to be 24 inches or bigger to keep them. We brought back 5, and we fed like 25 people with
Wow.
it was probably, I don't know how many pounds it was, but we smashed them, cooked them perfectly. And if we plan on eating them, I'll keep them, but most of the time we'll throw them back.
That's fair. Another popular fish, salmon.
Salmon, pretty much always keep them. I don't fish for salmon much, but when I do, they're almost always keepers. And once you've limited out, you don't really fish anymore because the fight they have to go through by the time you get them to the boat, unless they're small and it's an easy fight, they're probably not going to survive if you put them back in the water, especially the bigger and older they are. But I love salmon, eating it, so when I go out to catch them, I usually keep them.
Yeah, it makes sense. Cod.
Never caught it, but I'm not a big fan of it actually. It's
Really?
just kind of blah. It's there's other white fish that have more flavor, like
Such as.
walleye. But yeah, walleye, like even grouper. I had grouper for the first time in Florida last year, and it was amazing. But cod is just, it's that standard, frozen cod that you get
At the
fish and
supermarket,
chips,
yeah.
and it's just okay. So
Have you had snapper before?
no, I've heard it's really good though.
Yeah, I think it was snapper. We went to me and Igor and like 4 of our friends. Shout out Eddie, Bedenko, Gretz, Bondi. We
Mhm.
went to catch LA. Unbelievable spot if you're ever in LA and you're able to get a table. It's so good. They had the wild caught snapper. It was really good. It was very tasty.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I've just never really been in the right places to order it. When
Mhm.
I order fish, it's most of the time it's not fresh. But if I'm in an area where I think, oh, it could be fresh, then I'll order it.
Yeah.
Like in California or
Mhm.
Florida, ordering a tropical fish. But yeah, it's kind of the way I think of it when I'm ordering fish at a restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last one I had, you already mentioned it recently, was a walleye.
Yep. I mean, when you catch them, if they're big enough, usually if you catch one early, you're like, oh, maybe if we catch another, you keep it. If you catch a couple of them, it's, you have a delicious dinner. So, um, when I've caught them in the past, released a couple of them. I've also kept them. Just depends if we want it for dinner or not. So
Yeah, it makes sense. What's your favorite part of fishing? Like, how did you get into fishing, and what kept you fishing?
my dad got it into me when I was 3 years old, and he says it's the thing he regrets most doing with me, just because I love it so much and I put too much money into it. But he got me into it. We were up north at our cabin, left a line in overnight with like a bobber, and my first fish was a bullhead, and it's kind of like a catfish bottom feeder. And that was my first fish. I loved it. And the past couple of years, my tackle has just grown to more and more and more, and I'm like very close to like just getting a boat because I want a bass boat so bad. But when it's financially right and it's not going to hurt me too bad, I'll definitely be getting a bass boat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, when you can have your own boat to fish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that requires a lot of patience. If you're someone who's very impatient and can't sit somewhere for a while, I don't think fishing's for you.
Probably not. And I think that's part of it. It's, to me, it's just being out on the water is just relaxing. And I've gone out with my friend's dad, and his dad's my friend, Dan Mundy. He's a pro fisherman. I've been out with him before and not caught a single fish all day, but you just out on the water, you're having a great time. It's just super relaxing. But I've also been out with him and caught, our boats pulled in 80 fish. So he's a fun guy to fish with.
Yeah, that's no, that's wild. I mean, especially those days you don't catch anything, or you still can have fun, but in the back of your head, you're like, well, damn, why didn't I catch anything?
Yeah.
Which obviously is one of those valleys, but then one of those mountains, obviously, or one of those peaks is where you catch 80 fish. So
Right.
at the end of the day, it is worth it to go through those days where you don't catch anything, because then you're eventually gonna catch a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask one of my final questions was, who would you like to see me interview at some point coming up?
Let's see. Let me think. Did you do Igor Afanasyev already?
No, I haven't. It's weird. I actually
Do you know him or not really?
I know him a little bit. It's weird. I actually I'm gonna put him on the spot here. I messaged him asking to come on, and he just left me on red.
That's an Igor thing to do.
Yeah, so I might need you and Igor Jr. I might need you guys to not bully him into it, obviously, because I'm not gonna force someone to do anything.
Oh
But
no, he'll do it. He's just
you just gotta like kind of nudge him a little bit, like prod him with the
yeah.
stick, like, hey, do it.
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
think he'd be a good one. He played in Russia last year, so I'm sure he has some stories.
World
He's
Junior
a funny,
bubble too.
yeah,
Mhm.
World
He is
Juniors.
very
He's
funny. Yeah.
very funny. He's always got a smile on his face.
Boy, does he ever.
Always shoots the puck high, but no, I think he's a guy you need to go for next.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll talk with
Yeah,
Junior basically to kind of prod him a little bit, being like, hey, like, could
yeah.
you do me a
Maybe
favor
text
here?
Hack too. Hack will
I
send
will.
him a message.
Yeah, so I'll just get all three. Him, maybe Matei, but he might not
Yeah,
look at
Matei.
Matei.
You did Matei already, right?
Yeah, Matei was that is true. Matei was my second guest.
Okay.
Matei was funny. Dude, it's funny. I told Hack this too. I tried to get him to freestyle rap live. Couldn't do it.
He
Couldn't
wouldn't
do it.
do it.
No, he wouldn't do
Yeah.
it, man. I'm like, dude, like, you have these freestyles all the time and there's nothing. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah, it's
disappointing,
funny.
man. Disappointing.
Put on the
So
spot.
yeah, like literally I put him on the spot because for those that don't know, he's a creative guy. Like, he has some good freestyle raps, but man, he just froze. He just like went statue on me there. It was disappointing. So also, where can people find you on social media so that they can give you a follow and keep tabs on you next year?
That's a great question. Let's check what my Instagram name is. My Instagram is Bobby4949. And then my Twitter is HockeyBobby49, but I'm not very active on, I don't post anything on Twitter, just scroll through my feed and like other people's posts if I think it's worth liking. So
just check the news and
Yeah,
whatnot.
pretty much.
Yeah. What was your reaction to this? Obviously came out like a few weeks ago, but what about when Kucherov FaceTimed Senior?
Yeah, I heard about that. I think it's a crazy story, and it's awesome what he said about Igor, about him being his idol, I think. And it says a lot about Igor Senior and how much he's praised in in the Russian community. He's, I often, when people tell me they don't know who he is, I say, well, he's Kobe Bryant of Russia. Everyone knows him, and you see him on the street and people are going to stop and ask him for his autograph. So he's a amazing guy to know, and I'm glad that he has my back. And yeah, it's a crazy story.
Yeah, same here. Obviously, rest in peace, Kobe. But yeah, I mean, for any of you that don't know the story, Igor Jr. was with his dad at dinner, and his dad gets a FaceTime call, a random number, and he picks up, and it's not only Kucherov, but it's Vasilevsky too. They both have just won the cup, and he's saying in Russian, like, "You're my idol, you're my idol." And funny thing is, Senior just goes like, good job," like just like good job, not really knowing what to fully say. And obviously, Junior tweeted it, and it went viral, like 25,000 likes, featured on a lot of different platforms. So it was very, very crazy scene to see. Very wild. So
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a wild story to kind of hear about. But yeah, Bobby, I appreciate you taking your time to come on and chat. I would love to have you on in the future, possibly if you're free, like obviously like mid-season, just to kind of check up, see how you're doing. Obviously, this year will be, I think, a little better for everyone, since I don't know how the AHL realignment's going to be, but I think that obviously there should be more vaccinations and more travel opportunities, so you can actually go to the US and play teams. And I just feel like life's going to be better for everyone around the world, not just in the hockey community. So I think it'll be better for everyone, including yourself. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thanks again for coming on, Bobby.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, big thanks to Bobby Lynch for hopping on the pod. It was fun talking to him. I have not talked to him in quite some time. I think it was last August when I saw him at Igor's party. So we wish Bobby the best of luck this upcoming season in the Winnipeg Jets system. I know that he's going to crush it. So programming note for this week, this episode is going to drop on Monday, and I'm aiming for Tuesday for this to be on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be dropping Tuesday at, I'm going to say, it's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Be sure to follow the podcast Instagram at PK's Place Podcast. My personal Instagram is p.hughes15. Podcast Instagram is going to be obviously posts about what guests are coming up, and obviously about just other clips of the podcast if you want to see more. And my personal Instagram, there's a lot of good content there. So make sure you check it out. I will see everyone next week. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your week.